All right. Boy, if you didn't like that last one, you're going to love this. This is also sports and politics and life. The big, beautiful bill that was passed last week. One of the provisions, as it came out of the House, would have really complicated the process of getting the full tax benefit when you buy a team. Now, I will not pretend to know anything about tax law and write-offs and depreciation of intangible assets. But the bottom line is, the rule that's on the books allows someone who buys a team to take 100% of the value of the intangible assets, which is mainly player contracts and media contracts, and write them off over the course of 15 years. So initially, as it was conceived, the big, beautiful bill was going to reduce that 100% down to zero. It was going to go away. A middle ground was reached for the House version, 50% down from 100%. It would have resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue for the federal government and hundreds of millions of dollars in tax loss by the owners of teams. And I think it would have had a tendency to drive down the value of teams, because part of this overall question of, can I afford this? The tax benefits on the back end become part of the question of, can I afford this? So it would have been bad for NFL owners. And when the big, beautiful bill was finally passed, there wasn't much coverage about what happened. So over the weekend, I got in touch with somebody who would know, and I was told that the provision fell out of the Senate version of the big, beautiful bill, and then it went back to the House. It wasn't put back in. So status quo is still in place for NFL owners now and in the future. And I think it wouldn't have applied to current owners. It would have applied going forward to people who buy teams in the future, but still would have driven down the value of teams. It would have driven down what owners who are selling would end up getting. Now, it's fascinating because when this was first reported on by the New York Times, there were unnamed owners who believed that this was punitive, that this was the president trying to get the owners. And I tend to think they're right. And I recall what Stephen A. Smith told Jon Stewart on The Daily Show on June 9, that when the president was trying to buy the Buffalo Bills more than a decade ago, he vowed to Stephen A. Smith and presumably the others, if they keep me from doing this, I will run for president and I will get them back. And there is a belief that this is part of the effort to try to get them back. Now, it didn't work, but it makes you wonder what else might be out there aimed at getting them back. And it helps explain this weird minefield that the NFL is currently tiptoeing through. No sudden moves. Don't get yourself on the radar screen. Don't get yourself on the wrong end of an executive order. But it's just part of this adventure now. This suspenseful, what's going to happen next? And it dovetails with what I was talking about earlier. Because if the current president is determined to create some chaos, one way to create chaos is to squeeze a team that wants to get a deal done for a DC stadium into changing its name to the name that it dropped 5 years ago. It's a display of power over the most powerful sport in the country. Stick to sports. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.